All right. What's up, everybody? The Bay Ragni Show is live. I'm here with an old friend of mine, and it's pretty scary. The last time we did one of these interviews was literally 5 years ago to the day.
Right
I
on.
just saw on our Facebook memories this morning.
I
Let's
can't wait.
welcome to the show, the one and only Jaron Gulino, now of Lynch Mob and Heaven's Edge.
Exciting.
It's very exciting, dude.
Every time we do this, there's new bands to talk about.
Right? Oh my god, dude. Well, first off, I got to say too, um, thanks to you and Sebastian always posting about Cane's chicken fingers. They opened one in Nashville a few months ago, and it's changed my life.
Yeah, dude, it's ridiculous.
It's like Chick-fil-A who? Never again.
I don't like to argue with people about it. I'm just like, you go, and if you try to tell me you don't like it afterwards, and I know where we're at as friends, but other than that, whatever. Most people love it, so it's
Oh, it's too funny. It's too freaking funny. So, all right, man. There's so much to talk about. Um, I was going to go right into the whole lynch mob thing first, but I want to work my way up to it. I want to talk about the Heaven's Edge situation first, and actually, we can even say this about both of these situations. I was saying to myself, I'm like, Jared's become like the Mark Wahlberg character in Rockstar, where he makes that statement on stage at the end. He's like, "I used to have the posters of these guys on my walls, and now I'm one of them." Well, it's kind of like you now, dude.
it is a weird thing because I still have a big picture of George, that I always had in my room forever, and it was a picture that I took, so it's weird to be on the other side of that. It's like always being in the audience versus being on the stage, but yeah, man, it's pretty wild, and I'm enjoying every second of it, and couldn't be happier with the energy that the guys provide, and it's a great atmosphere to be in.
I will let me ask you this about before we get in depth about both of them. But overall, just like you said, like being um, the guy in the crowd, taking pictures and enjoying the show, and just being that fan. And I don't know if you ever got to see. I know for a fact you probably didn't see Heaven's Edge back in the day because you were too young. But when they've done like reunion shows over the years in Philly, if you saw those,
Mhm.
and being from the guy in the crowd to now being the guy on stage with both of these bands that you've looked up to for years, let's face
Sure.
it. I mean, it's just got to be overall so weird, mind blowing, but also too a learning experience.
It is, it's kind of like I kind of often say it's kind of like college. It's like I went to
Like
school,
college.
playing local bands and grinding, and then you join a little bit bigger band, and then you learn everything there, and you go on to the next thing. It's up and up and up. So, being a fan when I was younger, like I was going to see George back before I even really ever played an instrument. And so,
Okay.
with Heaven's Edge, I mean, it's been 10 years since the first time I got to see them. So I think back then it was never really a thought of, I could play in these bands. It's more like, I hope I can get to the level one day to somehow be at that level and playing in
Right.
bands like those. And so that's kind of where this has all come to. It's like, I never really kind of steered in the direction of doing bands like them. I just ended up being in the actual bands themselves, and, nothing better than to be in the band rather than one kind of like it, So,
Right. Right.
it's weird.
Well, it's kind of weird too because I mean, you went from being in Mach 22, which was like the hot Philly band for quite a few years in recent time of the music scene in Philly, to being in Heaven's Edge, which was like the hot band for many years, a few decades before.
Sure. Sure, man.
And,
Those guys love to play, so it's just all full circle. It's I don't know, man. It's a different thing. Heaven's Edge and Mach 22, like a lot of similar fans and
right.
that fan base, but where they were in the limelight or the spotlight back in the day, they still are getting these high profile gigs and the festivals and stuff. So as much as it's kind of died out in terms of the hype locally and around town, now it's just a hype to the fans that adore and love this kind of music.
Sure. Now the whole Heaven's Edge thing, like, explain to us how did this happen?
Basically, long story short, I was on tour in Europe with Tantric
Okay.
right before the pandemic hit, and I was sitting in this like dungeon type bar venue we were about to play in London, and I had no service for like a few days. My phone was all jacked up, and for some reason in this dungeon, I got service all of a sudden, and I messaged Mark, pretty much asking if I would be interested in coming down and jamming, or maybe putting the band together, with somebody on bass, and yeah, man, I was like, hell yeah. So pretty much half of that tantric tour I spent learning Heaven's Edge songs, and then I flew back to the States and went and jammed with Mark and them like literally just a couple of days after I got back, and it just kind of clicked, and the rest is been the last 3.5 years now of history.
Wow. What was it? Was it also kind of weird and tough because, um, I mean, you're stepping into a position where, sadly, the Heaven's Edge, the boys lost Gigi to cancer, and I mean, Gigi was loved not only by the band, by the fans, and all. And let's face, I mean, he was a true presence on that stage. He owned that fucking stage. Was it kind of weird, like saying to yourself, like, how am I supposed to fill those shoes? How am I supposed to like
Um,
represent for Gigi and do justice?
there's a couple different ways I look at it, especially now being in the band for a little bit. And at first, it was like you just go in, you play the songs the best you can, you do the moves that the guys are still wanting to do, and you just do it. It's not about
Right.
one guy. You just do it, you make it look good. And then as time went on, they really encouraged me to kind of bring my own side out in it a little bit. But at the same time, now where we have a new album and new music that I contributed to, before that, it was all just keep the song steady, keep them like Gigi would. Obviously I can't be like him or
Yeah.
replace him. I can just do my version of these songs. And I think it took a little time, but I think I found a nice way to kind of find my own place there. But in terms of the pressure, it's more pressure because I know the guys, love him. He was a family member, and I loved watching him. And um, the other side to that is I didn't get to see them in the heyday, so the
Right.
pressure of yeah, I mean, I saw him in the last 10 years, and yes, he was a presence on stage for sure. But a lot of people remember Heaven's Edge from back in the day, and a lot of that carries into today. A lot of anticipation. Are they going to do the moves? What songs are they playing? So I think part of that kind of bypassed me because I didn't get to witness all that back in the day. I didn't get to see it in its prime. So for me, it was just paying tribute to what they're doing now, and keeping it moving forward rather than dwelling on the past, or trying to climb out of a hole. You just kind of just keep.
Right. How about it's funny too. So I was thinking about it as I was getting together, ready for the interview tonight. I was saying to myself, like, on one hand, now you're playing with George Lynch, who, let's face it, one of the greatest guitarists, in my opinion, of all time, of that era especially. And then you got Reggie Wu, who he is also, in my opinion, another one. I think he's so underrated because they didn't have that break as big as Dokken in the day. But I feel Reggie's on that same wavelength as George. You're playing with two of the most phenomenal guitarists ever.
When I was younger, I used to look at. I mean, I still do now, and I talk about it a lot. Bands as like sports teams. You integrate
Yeah.
different members, it becomes a different thing. But when I was younger, coming up in the local scene, all I ever wanted to do was play with the guys that I thought were the best or had the best style or whatever. And I played with a lot of guys out of Philly, and Reggie Wu was always that legend guy. The next step up from him in terms of a Philly legend is Jeff LeBar, or somebody
Sure.
like that. So to be able to play with him, I mean, like being from this area, that's a big deal for me. And, I think it'd be a big deal for a lot of people. And then to take it a step even beyond that in many different ways, George, I mean, I'm just blessed. And, I mean, I literally think about it all the time, man. I'm a guitar hero guy. I love all these different guys from back in the day to now. And to be able to sit there with two of the greatest, I mean, I literally don't have words for it, man. It's really crazy.
Let me ask you this question. This is music in general, being the fact that you are playing with, I go back to where it was like the Guitar God days, and those guys are, in my opinion, guitar gods.
Cool.
And that's a term or something that in the music business and music scene of today, the modern era will say, you don't really hear that term as much. And now the fact, I mean, you're starting to get interviewed now in guitar magazines and stuff like that, and your name's getting out there for playing with guys like that. Do you think that term can come back?
I think it just takes the right person to kind of bring it back, and I think lately the biggest example of that would have been like Jared James Nichols. You know, he's one guy that's just laying waste to the guitar world.
Yeah.
And, he's a young guy and recent. He's been around a little while now, but still pretty fresh. So
Yeah.
and everybody loves John Five. He's been around forever, but I kind of consider him newer because his like hype and buzz didn't really start to the last 10, 5, whatever years.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, man. I'd like to think because back in the day, man, in Philly and playing out on tour, like you would see just these young guys just ripping it and shredding it, and their bands might have been a little retro or whatever, but you could tell the talent was there and was just spawning and growing in front of you. So I would hope that some of these guys could get some more attention, but it's a world of YouTube and sitting in your room learning the hardest things versus more having a style or an identity. And I think that's a big part of that Guitar Hero thing is having that identity and the style. You don't have to be the best, you don't have to be the fastest, but you're a brand kind of. You come along, right. Whether it's Yngwie and his Wall of Marshalls or Tom Morello playing 2 notes, but it sounds crazy. It's a whole different.
So, all right, let's go on to the whole Lynch Mob thing, because when this happened, I was so freaking happy and excited for you. I was just like, fuck yeah, because I knew how big of a fan of George you were. How did this whole thing happen and come about? Because I'm so curious to know, and I've been dying to sit and do this interview and to talk to you about this.
So there's a few layers to it, and it kind of snowballed over time, but I think the real turning point was in 2019. Tantric was out in Colorado doing some shows, and we had a night off, and Lynch Mob was playing, just down in the town right next door wherever we were, and I was like, dude, I'm going to see George. If anybody else wants to go, cool. So me, Ian Karabi, Sebastian, my girlfriend Cassandra was with us. We were like, yeah, hell yeah, let's go down there. So we took the van and the trailer down there with all the gear, and went down to Sunshine Studios, which is a place in Colorado Springs. And my buddy Scott Wilson and his girlfriend Christina, they run the place. He runs the studio, she runs the venue, and we're hanging. She's like, "Oh, you wanna get in on the meet and greet?" And we're like, "Yeah, cool." So we waited till his little line died down in the dressing room, and then we went in, and she introduced us as Tantric, a band versus a fans. So we kind of got to chat one-on-one, and we ended up talking about, hey, we sound check the Street Fighting Man all the time, and he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, like Cassandra kills it on vocals, and he's here the whole time thinking she's the singer of Tantric. He doesn't really know. So he's like, yeah, well, you should come up and sing with us tonight. And she's like, yeah, okay, cool. So he goes in the dressing room, and they had a guy filling in on vocals for the night. And he's like, hey, she's going to come up and sing this song with you. And he's like, okay, whatever. And then they brought her out to do the song, and George is, oh yeah, this is Cassandra, she's the singer of Tantric, and she's like, oh no, like that, my boyfriend's just in the band. So you can see like on George's face, just like, oh no, like what is gonna happen here?
Oh shit.
So anyways, we blew it out of the park, man. She really lit it up, and ever since then, we've had this, that's how George and I had kind of, connected there. So. After seeing him on the cruise a couple times, it just became more friendly, and we ended up sharing a tech. His tech, John Thayer, came out with Tantric for a little while when it kind of died down during the pandemic. And, fast forward till last year, George put a new lineup together of the Electric Freedom and Rob DeLuca on bass from Sebastian Bach and Spread Eagle and UFO. He was going out for the last UFO dates in the summer and wasn't going to be able to do the George dates. So they asked me to fill in, and, kind of just spawned from that. Once we got going, it was kind of like, okay, well, I think, we want to do a band again, rather than just a revolving door. And George was like, well, I'm thinking about just bringing back Lynch Mob. What do you guys think about that? And, I just always like to play with the guy, you know, to be in the actual band and to you know, contribute to some songwriting. You know, I never really saw that coming. So
Right.
at that point, you know, about a year ago now, or a little over a year ago, Lynch Mob was reborn, I guess. And yeah, man, it's crazy. We went through a couple singers and tried out a couple guys, and then Gabriel Cologne, our new guy, came in and crushed it, and he's been in for about a year now.
Okay.
And yeah, man, it's weird. You know, I just always joke. I said, George, you know, anytime you need somebody, let me know. And he's always like, oh, you know, when are we doing shows with you again? I'm like, you say, you know, I'm there. So, yeah, man, I just fell into place. And again, I never really thought it would come to this, but you know, I always hoped one day I could be a part of something like this. So
So now correct me if I'm wrong, because you were there, and I think it was your first shot of shows was the same weekend as Ray from Spread Eagle.
yeah, both of our shows were the first show for us both.
Yeah, so you were there for the whole fuck up of Ray.
Look, Ray's not a fuck up. You know, he's a great singer, and I like him as a person. And it just wasn't the right fit. You know,
No,
a lot of people can do a job, but whether it's a natural thing for them, you know, that's all it really comes down to. And I had a blast with him, and I enjoyed his company. Nothing but good things to say about Ray.
Yeah, now we I don't know if you know we do a show together, so it always he brings it up all the time and he discusses it and he's just like, you know, straight up, I fucked up. He's like, you know, I had a chance and you know I didn't approach it the right way and I just my heart wasn't in it and I, you know, and he says it. So it was kind of weird to hear him say, you know, he be honest about it. He was very honest and he's been very honest about it the whole time for the last year because a lot of people still bring it up to him.
We're all worst critics, you know.
Yeah, of course. So, how was that? That'd be kind of weird for you though, too, because you probably thought at that point you were just gonna be a temp guy,
Yeah,
and then you see the thing that happens with Ray, and then you're like, oh shit! But then you end up being the permanent guy.
Yeah, you know, it didn't. Honestly, I went in. I learned an overload of material. You know, I knew that the guys had like a 14, 15 song list they kind of work off. I'm like, dude, if you guys know any other of these other songs, like I know a ton of them, you know, let's jam. And, you know, when the whole Ray thing was happening, it really challenged the band, you know, the other three guys to kind of, you know, jam out a little bit more and to fill some of these spaces of where the uncertainty kind of was in the songs. And I think that kind of built a nice foundation. And, you know, moving to the next week when we had Travis come in, and do those shows, it was a whole different thing. You know, we find ourselves playing different songs and things that might fit him a little more. And so it was great, you know, a great learning experience. But I knew George was stressed out about it a little bit, you know, in terms of another new guy, another thing. And I just wanted to make it as seamless as possible for him in terms of having to worry about anything else. So, you know.
Now, I'm guessing it was the same situation for you because I know Ray told me like he went into that. There was no rehearsals. Your rehearsal was basically the sound check, couple songs, and that was it. So, and then you said with Heaven's Edge, you actually got, you know, basically a tryout. You got the jam. So how? I mean, again, that has to be like a scary, intimidating thing, especially when it's George fucking Lynch, and you're going in and it's like, literally thrown to the wolves with George Lynch.
Yeah, I mean, it was intimidating for sure. And, you know, getting up there at sound check, and I already knew how he rolled. And most of the bands I played with, I never got an audition and I never got a rehearsal. So it was like the first time we ever played Tantric was I had 2 days to learn 14 songs, fly there and meet the guys and play that night. You know, it was like, it's always just been a thing for me. So it was kind of just another walk in the park in terms of the mentality of it, you know, getting prepared. I'm like, okay, I know these songs mentally. I've been listening to them since I was a kid.
Right.
I never play them, but at least if you know, going through the motions of playing, I at least know the song well enough to guess where I might not be sure. And I don't know, man, it just happened. I worked really hard and you know, I just wanted to pull my own weight, but it's just that's how these guys do it, man. They just go right out, no rehearsals. I mean, we've had one rehearsal with Lynch Mob, and I've been in the band since last July. So that's just how.
What was the occasion? Why a rehearsal?
I know we were just in LA, and we figured why not brush up on some stuff, and you know we were all there at the same time with Time to Kill, so it makes sense to be constructive. But the the cool thing about the band is, George is very much a guy that plays based on how he's feeling. And the songs are never the same twice. And every single night, it doesn't matter what set list you write or how you prepare, there's always going to be, a left turn somewhere real quick or something different that's just going to happen. So as much as you prepare, yeah, you might know the song, but you could be doing a 15-minute version of that song that night and you got to, figure some stuff out pretty quick. So, it's, that's my favorite part about the gig is the pressure. I feel like I do much better under pressure than a lot of other scenarios. So I'm always hungry for the challenge.
I interviewed George a couple times over the years, and the last time I interviewed him, there was a screw up in the time zones, and I thought it was weird too. Like I remember, I was calling him at like 9 or 10 in the morning, our time, Eastern time, and I was like, why am I interviewing him at like 6 or 7 in the morning? I thought it was weird. Well, here I call him and I freaking woke him up. And I was like, "Oh fuck!" And he could tell he was not happy, but he was like, "Dude, give me 2 minutes and we'll do it." I was like, "Okay," like,
Yeah,
and he did it.
He's a good dude, man. He's always down for the cause, and you got to just take him for what he is, man. I mean, he's a legend and he's been doing it a long time.
Does it and you're like on that same wavelength, and the thing I've always said to him too in the few interviews I did with him, because he's always, he was doing, a Lynch Mob or, guitar album or Michael Sweet, and then he did another one, like all these different projects, and you're kind of the same way, like, now with Heaven's Edge, Lynch Mob, the Life Project, who else? Yeah, you never know what Jaron's cooking behind the scenes. So is it kind of also like an inspiration too to see how that guy works and functions?
I mean, that's pretty much what inspired, what my career has become. Two of the big guys that I always looked up to were George and Glenn Hughes, and it's like, oh, George is the greatest guitar player. No, his work ethic and the amount of work that these guys have on their resume is just incredible. And if you like one guy's style, well, here's 50 fucking flavors of this guy's style. So, that's kind of how I look at it. And I hope that one day I could have a resume that's even close, as far as a body of work to some of these guys. But yeah, man, that's kind of where this whole thing spawned from, was watching these guys. Just one, they're killer players, but two, they're churning out work and they're always hungry for the next thing. And I can relate to that, and I feel that.
Do you think it's also like, I mean, it's almost kind of surprising in this day and age, because as much as people, like George and Michael Sweet and guys like that are still churning out tons of content and product, the music business isn't what it was in their heyday. So it's kind of surprising as well. What do you think? Do you think it's just the creative person inside of them to keep doing that?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not easy work, and it's a lot of work to
Yeah.
make music and to have a career in music. So while the driving force for some people might be money, you could probably make more money out there getting a regular job doing some stuff compared to all the work that it goes into to put together an album, and the stress of working with all the different people involved, the labels, the producers, the engineers. I mean, we go through a lot of stuff. So there's just so many layers to it. I think some people get upset. They say some of these guys put out too much stuff and they're watered down or spread too thin. But I'll tell you what, I'd rather have 10 songs to find one good one from than just one, and that's all you ever knew. It's like when some of these older bands are putting out 30-year anniversaries of albums, B-sides and demos. It's like, oh man, I wish I had heard this for the last 20 years. I would have been, been my favorite song. So, I'd rather have more to pick from than, less that's just great. I mean, I don't know. It's a double-edged sword.
Now, with the new Lynch Mob album that's coming out October 20th, Babylon, did you get to contribute at all? Like, is your input, was it welcomed, or?
Pretty much the way that I'll put it is George just pretty much sent over some guitar tracks. He said, I'm going to do 2 songs a day for this week, and I'm going to have 10 until I'm done 10 songs, and I'll send them to you as I get them. So each day we got just 2 guitar tracks to click. that he pretty much just wrote songs and put sections together. They're pretty much the skeletons. And then Jimmy tracked the drums at his house and sent them to me. And then he gave me pretty much free reign to do whatever I wanted to that. It's like I didn't go and change his guitar riffs, but I chose what the bass is going to do under it without any guidance or being told what to do. So and I feel when you have an album that's 4 guys, everybody does their own thing. That's a fourth of the pie in terms of a lot of the creativity. And I'm happy to just have bass on there, whether I was told what to play or not. Just to be the guy who played it. But he gave me a lot of liberty there, and I'm very proud of the record for sure. And I'm only kind of juiced up more for the next one, so we can kind of all get together in one room and get creative together. But it's friggin' George Lynch. I know what his music sounds like. I kind of know how the bass should go if I was thinking of it. So that's just the version that you'll get on this new record.
Now, how about with the Heaven's Edge album that came out a few months back? Was that done all in the studio together, or same way, send the tracks back?
There were demos. We rehearsed them in the studio a little bit together, kind of plucked away a couple of different things, and then pretty much that window of time closed, and then I had to go on the road. I was on the road almost all of last year from the spring on, so I tracked all of the Heaven's Edge record in hotel rooms after like 2 a.m. On the Tantric tour last summer. Yeah, it was pretty wild. But in terms of the songs, like, I definitely took a lot of liberties bass-wise. It's definitely not the Heaven's Edge bass that you're used to in terms of what's being played. But, I still try to keep it rocking to the same extent. I feel like that's my sweet spot is this style of music. It's what I breathe and love. So maybe my flair on it's cool. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I let the fans decide.
How about the whole world of Tantric? You like closed that door and you moved on to what you're doing now. Was it kind of tough to say goodbye to that? Because that was like the thing that really got your feet wet in the business on a whole nother level. So that was like your preschool of rock and roll, so to say.
The entry level position, work your way up the ladder type thing at a big corp. But yeah, I mean, it was tough. Mostly to leave my friends. You build a bond with people with Baz. I mean, I've been playing with him for years, so that was a downside. And we had John Laurie on drums, and he was a great help and a driving force with me. So to leave it, yes, it was a little tough like that, but I kind of just like never really left. I kind of subbed out some shows, and the next thing I knew, it was like subbing out a tour, and the next thing I was like, hey, I can't do any shows until spring of this year. And it was like, okay, so the last time we played together, it wasn't really like a conscious decision, like I'm done after this. It was more just like, you guys should just find somebody that you like and stick with them, and if you need help, I'm here, but right. This is what I'm doing now. So there was no like real goodbye, and we still all talk and hang out. So it's that band was a lot of work, and it was a really tough gig business wise. But again, it was kind of like my entry level introduction to the business, and I learned so much. And I feel like now I could pretty much do just about any gig, out there within reason, because of all the chaos that happened with that band and troubleshooting and problem solving. I mean, you name it. So
you guys, you freaking grinded, man. You were on the road like 24/7, and now it's like you have a much more open schedule.
It's tough, man. The transition this year has been really weird. I don't like not being busy. So, I mean, there's only really a certain amount of movies online. I know Netflix says they have millions of movies. I check, they don't. I'm out of them. So, the cool thing is I get more time to spend time with family, and I missed out on a lot of that. All my friends, like I almost missed my sister's wedding last year, and only by a fluke was I even able to get there. So the road from 2017 until this year has just been really nuts. So transitioning this year without Tantric and a little more time home, more time to practice and play and go to the pool and enjoy life. But honestly, I wouldn't mind being as busy as I was, especially with this gig. But I'll take the sporadic shows with George over anything any day. And even if it was one gig a year, I'm there, man. So it's rewarding in so many other ways.
Are you creating yourself with the downtime?
Like writing music?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. I'm always writing stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, man. Because I back in the day before Tantric and all that, I had that band on top that we did a lot of music with, and that's kind of like my style. So everything I kind of come up with, I feel like, oh, this is an on top song, or it could be. But then, I've also grown a lot since then, so I've got stuff out there that's a little different. So right now, I'm kind of toying with the idea of maybe just collaborating with a bunch of different people and seeing where that music kind of goes artistically, and then figuring it out. But right now, I mean, in terms of chasing a band or really pushing a band, I'm good where I am with Heaven's Edge and Lynch Mob. I'm happy. If that clock runs out at some point, then I worry about that then. But for now, man, I always say, and my buddy Chris Green from Taiketo told me this when I did some Delacoma shows with him. He said, when gigs come up and stuff like that, say yes now and figure it out later. Just say yes and take the chance, because if you say no or you turn something down, you're immediately eliminating an opportunity. I just like to always feel good about what I'm doing, and if it's exciting to me, I'm in whatever the cost, as long as I think it's going to be good for me.
Who's the dream gig now to play with?
I don't know, man. I really don't. It's not about size of the venues or anything like that for me. So
right.
I don't know, man. I just like playing with George, and I don't know. Maybe doing some music with some other guys would be cool, collaborating. But in terms of the live thing, man, being up there with him, it just feels insane, man. It's badass. So,
what was there a song or moment when you just like said, "Holy fuck, I'm on stage with George Lynch"?
I mean, like being up there, even just like trying to turn my amp on at sound check the first day. Hope he likes my tone, or something like that. So, I don't know, the whole thing kind of was, but at the same time, I try to be professional, and he's looking at me like, a peer. He's like, you know what you're doing. You're a bass player. I'm like, okay, well, he obviously trusts me because he told me to do this, so I'm just going to do my best version of it. But I think that the moment that I felt good about it was we played Mr. Scary at soundcheck, and he usually likes to have a rhythm guitar under it, or some kind of something going on. But we just did it, the 3-piece with the band, and everybody's looking at each other like, yeah, okay. So I think that was a cool moment for sure.
That's awesome. That is freaking awesome. I'm so proud of you, man. I'm happy for you.
Well, thank you. It's exciting.
So yeah, I can only imagine. So all right, so you guys are actually tomorrow night. You're playing at Dingbats.
Good old Dingbats.
Good old Dingbats, and then Friday night at the Landis Theater with good old Sick Vicky, the old Philly boys.
It'll be fun.
That's going to be a good time. And then you're playing in PA on Saturday. I don't even know where that's at. That one I never heard of.
It's right outside of York. It's in Hallam. I only know because I've been there recently. But it's kind of out there, man. But it's an old kind of like legendary club out in that area. Hailstorm came up playing there, and a bunch of bands. So it's old. It's a club. It's an old school rock club, which is cool. And I think the energy there is going to be pretty wild. I'm sure the guys will be like, "You're kidding me. You brought us here." But I think, once we get in there, it's going to be a cool show. So very exciting.
That's awesome. We got some people here that want to say hello real quick. We got Dawn from Two Girls and Their Alcohol.
What's up, rockers?
Hey, all you rockers out there.
She's the greatest.
We got Nancy. Yeah, there you go. It's weird to not have you and Sebastian together.
It is. I'm sure we'll do something. I mean, we've worked on so much music over the years, even stuff that no one's really even heard. So, something's got to come from that at some point. And, we still bust each other's balls just as much. So, the doors never close with Sebastian. I always have a blast with him, and it'll always be family for me.
Well, you got to get down to Nashville so we can go to Raising Cane's together.
You something. I know you now love Raising Cane's, and I'm so grateful, and we've conquered that step. It's fantastic. But now, if you're in Nashville, which I always forget that you're down there,
yes,
400 degrees, hot chicken.
I got to do it. Got to do it.
Have you been there?
No.
Okay, it's kind of in the hood.
Yeah, it's on the east. It's in East Asheville, right?
Yeah, like no Northwest, I think. I have to double check. I'll send you the info, but
All
a
right.
good company there will take care of you. Literally, you don't have to get it super hot. They don't go hot thinking you can handle it because no one can handle it. It's hot. But just get something, whatever you're comfortable with, have her hook you up. And dude, it is the crunchiest, best chicken tender ever. And it's not like Cane's like fast food. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a chicken place. Like they do it right. So go there and you'll thank me. If you thought my tip on Raising Cane's was good, I'm about to blow your mind to another level.
Wait a minute. I got to look it up real quick.
There's one in the airport, but you got to go to the actual place. I mean, they're both good, but if you want the real deal,
Let me see. Yeah, it's over like on the east. Or wait a minute. There's one over by me, I think.
yeah, I thought it was like north.
Oh, that's the airport.
Yeah,
Okay.
not at the airport.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Yeah, I got to check them out.
It's worth the drive over there, man. They're only open till like 3 o'clock or something, but get in there. If I have been closer, I would have went bankrupt going there. Often I'm just like, I should just like put orders in online just to support and then like never pick them up. But it's they do it right, so go check that out for sure.
That's awesome, dude. So great talking to you, man.
Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. And yeah, when the new stuff comes out, whatever that may be, come back on. Let's hang out.
Yeah, man, I got plenty of stuff down the pipeline, so I'll be in touch about that for sure.
Absolutely. Take care, man. Everybody, where should we go? October 20th, new Lynch Mob album, Babylon, comes out. Where do we find you? Instagram? What's the best spot?
Personally, yeah, we're all just kind of do the personal thing. There's no like Lynch Mob page. I mean, there kind of is, but no one uses it. So if you want to know what's up, just chat with us, man. We're pretty responsive.
There you go. All right, Jaron. Take care, man. I'll talk to you soon, bud.
Man.
Later.